gets like agitated. Like if you say like a word wrong, he'll say, no, you're being sloppy with those words. This is what you meant to say. God.
Boom.
Okay. What's up?
We are back.
We're back again. Another episode.
We can't even count them anymore.
It's just too many.
The episodes
Just too many. Let's go straight into it. You wanna start off this week? I like the one on your list, so I think you should start there this week.
Should we hit that?
Yeah, definitely.
We seem to love the business of sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's fascinating. It's good to see people that can build on their name, build on what they have started. Most people finish playing and they fall off.
Mm-hmm.
And we have more respect for those that find a way. The ones with the entrepreneurship style in mind.
Absolutely.
And there's nobody better than this guy. There's nobody better.
Who is it?
It's only a matter of time. He'll be a billionaire. I'm gonna raffle through just his upcoming, sort of like who he is, and I'm sure when we get to what we all know, you'll come in with the nuggets of the stuff he's done. The money's stacked up. The money's made. The guy is David Beckham.
Okay.
The guy was born in London, 75. Mm-hmm. He is known for being in the class of 92. Joined Manchester United when he was 14 years old. Made his debut in 1992. Alongside the likes of Giggs, Scholes, the Neville brothers, and the list goes on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Not such a good... Well, he was a good footballer. Not a brilliant one.
Yeah.
But he managed to... Yeah, he was above average. Better than me. But he managed to... he managed to milk every little ounce of ability in him. He went on to win 6 Premier League titles with Manchester United, a Champions League in 99. He was the best for the dead ball, the best crosser of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He had the best long-range pass accuracy, long-range free kicks. He later became a fashion icon. Well, he had the good looks. We forgot to mention that. That's important.
Well, that's very important. That took him a long way.
You know what I mean? He managed to link up with Victoria Adams, later known as Victoria Beckham.
I didn't even know what her maiden
name. You are too young to remember this.
Maybe. I'm not an old man like you,
You only know the Victoria Beckham. She was Victoria Adams before she was Victoria Beckham. Okay? I think they started dating when she was on top of her pounds, around 97. My first year in high school,
I was 2.
All right. I was already chasing girls, man. And you were only 2.
So was I.
Yeah, they got married in 99 and they became the power... What do you call them? The power couple.
Mm-hmm.
I think he fall out with Fergie along the way. Transferred to Real Madrid in 2003. Contribute to their La Liga win in the season of 2006-2007. Then at the end of that season, he moved to LA Galaxy, where before him there was Pele. He
Mm-hmm.
went there, tried to raise the profile of United States soccer. Let's not confuse this.
Football.
We don't wanna. Well, soccer for them, but it's football. Uh, yeah, I think I don't know how long he played for them, but he later played for PSG on loan before he. No, was he on loan? No, he was on loan in Milan. A PSG, was that loan or was that
I think it was permanent
a
move.
transfer? Probably loan. Was it permanent move? Probably
I think it
permanent
was a
move. Yeah,
permanent move. Yeah.
and then and then he established himself as an entrepreneur with a variety of businesses, which we will talk about, uh, sort of going through this episode, which is
Mm-hmm.
probably the main thing we want to talk about. His name came up when you were talking about the move of Lionel Messi
Mm-hmm.
to Inter
Into Miami.
Miami, a
Yeah.
team that, yeah, the team that he holds a major stakehold in that. He played for England, 115 caps. He's also was the captain for that team. He changed how footballers moves. They all moves like Beckham right now. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
guy started it all.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much his profile with his playing career. Can you break down how he came about to own the Inter Miami?
Yeah. So I'm going off the top of my head here because I don't have any notes. But if I remember correctly, his move to LA Galaxy came with a clause that essentially said that he could buy a MLS team. Well, he was guaranteed an MLS team for, was it 20 million, 30 million?
I was
Well, it was
25.
something
I think a
25
25
million.
million. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was guaranteed an MLS team for 25 million, no matter when he wanted to start it. Bearing in mind, like if you're comparing any other clubs or sports franchises in America, I mean, if you look at like any of the basketball teams, I don't think there's any that's worth less than $1 billion. So soccer over there, it might not be as popular, but you can guarantee
Mm-hmm.
that 25 million would have been an amazing deal for him. So he guaranteed that. Said, yeah, went and played. So obviously him playing, bringing a bit more eyes to the league and that kind of thing helps the league grow. And in return, he gets to start up his own team. So then he starts up into Miami, and I think it's the second year, going to the third year of running now.
I think so. Yeah.
So I think that's what I know off the top of my head. Maybe correct me
Yeah.
if I'm
I would
mistaken.
love to know, for a team that was formed recently, do you know what the value? Do you want to search that quick? Like,
Yeah,
what's the value of the team? Well, it will definitely go up with Messi joining the
Messi
team,
got in there. Absolutely.
and so is his wallet.
Well, I want to know. I thought they have a salary cap there, by the way. I don't understand how.
Yeah, but most of these salaries, I think they have like I think they can have one player or two. I don't know. They can have one player or who's outside the salary cap.
Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah, I think they can
I
have.
mean
I'm
that.
not sure like exactly what they can have, but they can have at least a player also who's outside the salary cap. Who
Okay.
they most of the funding can be done by sponsorship.
Right. Okay. So
So that's why
I'm seeing.
most teams would have.
Sorry, I'm seeing a quick. I've just looked at the valuation here. I'm seeing a few different numbers, but this
Yeah.
is maybe the most reliable one on Yahoo Sports. Well,
Yeah.
this is for August 2021, saying that Inter Miami is
Okay, that's the
valued
perfect one.
between 600 and 650 million. So, I mean,
Okay.
for someone who's paid 25
It's
million for a franchise, just
yeah,
put that into
a new
perspective, right?
franchise.
Oof,
Yeah.
damn.
and you can only imagine how much stake he got in that team.
Mm.
And he also looking at other ventures that he is involved in. You know, if you go through that list, you know the list on the doc. If you go to the
Alrighty. Yeah,
bottom,
yeah, yeah.
there's like a list of well, I stopped at 21, like
Oh my god.
21 brands. Yeah, the 21 brands he have is like he has partnership with, or he co-own, or his partnership sort of like whether it's ambassadorial role or he actually owns a stake.
I see.
The guy is ridiculous.
He's really spread his portfolio well. I had no
Oh,
idea.
his portfolio is sick.
Just to list some names for people, obviously, Inter Miami's on there. Hague Club, the Scotch
Hmm.
Whiskey, LA Galaxy, David Beckham Ventures. I'm guessing that's like his investment company.
That's investment,
Adidas,
yeah, portfolio.
H&M. Yeah, Adidas, H&M, L'Oreal, Sands China, Salford City, which I think a bunch of the Man United players own.
Yeah, I think all
Tudor,
the other
Armani.
guys.
Hmm. Yeah, all the other
The
guys
guy
have a
is
habit. Yeah, he's not
it's
messing around.
crazy.
Sainsbury's,
He's not
Pepsi,
messing around.
Jaguar, Samsung. Wow. Okay.
And the monies that
Okay.
he makes from these guys are sick. It's like he's a machine. You know
Mm.
what I mean? He's a machine. Because even his lifetime um deal with Adidas alone, like I searched there, I think when he signed it, I think he had like 160 million from them, and then
Damn.
40 million for 4 years back then.
Yeah,
So he
this
had
is
10 million for 4 years, and then probably went down because he doesn't play anymore, but
mm,
guaranteed he collect cash from them. You know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah, this guy. I mean, I saw another article just when I was looking at the valuations saying that with Messi coming in, they're estimating that the club are worth over $1 billion.
definitely. Like, it won't surprise me.
Insane.
Definitely gonna be. Like, I think when it comes to footballers, I think he's built like longevity. Like, his
Absolutely.
stuff gonna really stay. You know what I mean? Like, these things are
Absolutely.
not going away. You know what I mean?
They're,
And I
they're
was
really
reading
clever
somewhere
ventures.
where, yeah, very clever. Like,
Mm,
I think he had like a deal with like Sainsbury's, for example, like from
mm.
back in the day. And then 2012 with the Olympics, they paid him 6 point something million. Like, this is a guy who wasn't playing, like
Wow.
6 point something million. That is serious stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean,
It's
put it into perspective. How many other footballers, how many other sports people can we name who are retired, fully retired, who can still command
yeah.
such any kind of money really from these basic brands like that level of money?
I don't think there's any.
You can.
I don't think there's
I
any.
don't even know
And I
where to
think
start.
even
Right.
the ones who are playing, there's not many
Mm,
that can retire and still command as much as he does.
right.
Yeah. You know, we were talking about
Crazy.
I just went through like a post that I showed you the other day. Like
Mm,
we're talking about like his deal at LA Galaxy. It
yeah.
was a it was a 5 year contract, and he earned $255 million.
Holy moly!
Yeah.
That was his contract at LA
And that
Galaxy.
doesn't yeah. And that doesn't that that also doesn't show how much he made for going on loan twice to AC Milan.
Mm-mm.
This guy
Yo,
was making serious
how
money back in the day.
like how smart of a businessman are you in however many years ago it is to negotiate exact like
That's what
a,
I think
a
it's like
50 plus
16
mil.
years ago. That's 16 years ago, like a decade and a half.
Is that when he was playing there?
He went to Galaxy, 2007.
Oh my god! Bearing in mind, this league was probably not even worth. What probably worth maybe double that,
Yeah,
right?
and he was collecting it.
50 million a year, and
Uh,
well, 250 million pot in total, and a deal
yeah,
to get a team for 25 million guaranteed, no matter when he wants to
exactly.
start.
And the
That's
25 million close.
incredible.
That is that's
That's an
amazing.
incredible deal. Wow.
This guy
That's
is
that's really
serious.
that's really someone who understands their star power. Like you can see, he built a brand, and he's put
Yeah,
himself. He knows how to leverage that with I guess everyone. If that's his deal with the MLS, you can imagine what the deal with the rest of the brands are. Must be absolutely insane.
exactly. Exactly. And he seemed to keep the brands too.
Hmm.
Because if you look at his brands, like the brands he's associated with, they're exactly the same brands he was associated with when he was playing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's still like associated with the same brands.
Fair play, man. Fair play, David
You know what
Beckham.
I mean? Like
I didn't expect this.
some people are touching money. You know what I mean?
Oof.
Some people are definitely touching money. And the thing is, as well, when you look at his deals,
Mm.
he's very good. You know, remember we spoke about Conor McGregor and
Mm-hmm.
the strategic moves he makes with his brands, where
Right.
he links up with these brands and they are very strategic. It's the things he already does. You know, remember where
Mm-hmm.
someone goes to McGregor and say, "Do you want to promote our whiskey?" And McGregor
Yeah.
and his team decide, you know what, we'll get our own whiskey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they go and get
Mm-hmm.
the best guy to do with whiskey, Ken something, and they come up with Proper 12.
Right.
And someone said, "Do you want to dress up in our clothes because you like wearing suits when you go to the conferences?" It's like,
Mm.
nah, I'll come up with my own. And when you look
Right.
at Beckham's list of endorsements, it's exactly the same thing. Exactly
Absolutely.
the same thing. You know what I mean? Like all his endorsements, shouts out who he is.
And you know
And
what
it's
I like,
very
right?
consistent.
It is. You
Mm.
know what I like? his his choice of brands to work with, none of them are like trashy. It's not cheap money. You know what I'm saying? It's not Burger King, it's
No,
not
yeah.
McDonald's. He's strategically picked, it's like Imperial Armani. Even Sainsbury's, for those who
Yeah.
maybe outside of the UK who don't know about Sainsbury's, that's like maybe that's like an
That's above
upper middle
the
class tier. Yeah, upper middle class tier, like supermarket.
yeah.
Jaguar,
It's not a bargain
Samsung.
supermarket.
Yeah, he's very smart with his choices.
Yeah,
And
they're really
I'd like
good
to know that.
brands.
I'd like to know the team behind it, because they must have been with him all the way from the start, right? To be
That'd be
negotiating
good.
such
I
things with
I,
his
I
friend.
think definitely the people he has behind him must be really good. Even when you look at,
Mm,
like, people talk about, like, these whiskey brands deals. The guy has
right.
been with her club like for a minute.
As long as I can remember.
Yeah,
That's the only reason I know about
yeah,
it.
exactly. And the thing is, yes, you can go and you can do all these. He's been in that ambassadorship role for so long.
And you know,
Do you know what I mean?
the thing is,
Like,
the thing is like, for like, because he's kind of guy who, like, people will call him in for like direction, and not call him in, but like I guess he'll get paid like a consultancy fee at being an ambassador. So essentially, he gets like a yearly wage from all of these, alongside whatever
yeah,
projects they're working on, and whatever returns with with stake that it owns in the company or whatever. It's
yeah.
it's
And
it's
the thing
crazy.
is, yeah, like, you tell me, how many people do you know who can have um they can have sponsorship or deals, brand deals with how many fashion companies does he have on this list? He got like
Mm,
the Kenny Cowan, right? He
mm-hmm.
got that's one. He also have House
And
99.
yeah.
You can put Adidas in there. You go
Yep.
H&M.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Then
Armani.
you got, yep. But you can even these
And
fragrance
that's
ones like
all.
Coty, L'Oreal,
Exactly.
Tudor. Tudor's a watch company.
Yeah,
Yeah,
watch. Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
crazy.
and there's, like, normally there'll be like conflict of interest. Not for him.
Mm. Yeah,
Not for him. Not for Beckham. You know what I mean? Like this, if
wow,
people, like, I think those who manage athletes and stuff like that, this is what they need to look at. They need to look
absolutely,
at this guy's portfolio.
absolutely. Like even just looking at it, right? This guy is obviously he's a minority owner of Southwood City, but
Yeah,
he's a majority owner of Inter Miami, and
exactly.
still
And he's still
has an affiliation with LA
with
Galaxy.
LA Galaxy. That's three teams. That's three football teams
Yeah,
that
insane,
he got association with. He
insane.
actually have two teams that he have association with in the same league.
Same league, which is it never happens.
Do
Absolutely
you know?
never
Do you know?
happens.
Like the only time I saw something like this happening is like in
Mm.
Formula One. You know,
Hmm.
Toto Wolff.
Yeah.
He's a stakeholder in Mercedes. He's also a stakeholder in Williams.
All right.
And not only
Okay, I
that,
didn't know that.
he also manages what's his name? Bottas.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, he just like when Bottas was in Mercedes. That's the only time he wasn't managing him. But he's managed him before he came to Mercedes. He left
Hmm.
Mercedes, and I saw an interview by him a couple of weeks ago, and someone asked him if he still is managed, like if he's still managed by Toto Wolff, and he was like,
Total.
"I wasn't when I was in Mercedes, but now he's back
Hmm.
on managing it." He's the only person I know who have a stake in Mercedes, and then also a stake in Williams, and then not only that, there's a couple cars on the grid that use Mercedes engine. Like seriously, I
Crazy.
need to play this game.
Yeah,
I need
crazy.
it. I need to be able to do it. You know what I mean? Just invest in all the winners. I'm gonna put money in Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, not Tottenham, Man City, and I'll be good. And Liverpool.
That'd be it. All right. Yeah, this
Then
sports
whichever
game is
way I win.
crazy. Okay, yeah, we had a bit of an issue there. Some people are having audio issues, so we've just cut. But I think we wrapped up on Beckham. I don't know if you have any last words. I think we are just saying we were very impressed.
No, I think that's the guy. You know what I mean? It's just recognizing that we've only touched half the side of the house. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? His wife is killing on the other side too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with her own ventures. So it's a house of winners.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which we don't see often. So shout out to
No,
David
it's very
Beckham,
rare.
man. It's very impressive. Very impressive. Okay, I would like to. I'll do one of mine, or the one that I have today. And we'll start off here. Have you ever heard of Michael Saylor?
Yeah. Not much, but yeah.
All right, okay. So to give some quick context, he's I think hedge fund owner. Has been in that kind of game for a long time, and he's very heavy on Bitcoin. So I've got a quick summary of his profile. So strap up. Um, so was born in 1965 in Lincoln, Nebraska. Went to MIT, the famous MIT, the place that all these tech nerds and geniuses all go to. So, but they went there early in 1987. He had a double major in science, technology, society, and a minor in aeronautics and astronautics. And
Holy moly.
yeah, and the thing is, this he's a proper engineer at heart. You hear him talk about like money and um and Bitcoin, and he describes it like as an engineer. I remember one quote. I was listening to him on the Patrick Bet David podcast, and I remember him talking about how people don't understand how money works. He was saying money is like energy. It's not like energy. Money is energy. His thing is, he's like it deteriorates over time. So energy bleeds out. But the way he describes this in like an engineering fashion, he's like, I think the example he uses is like if you want like a perfect engineering model, it's the one with the least amount of drag or something like that. The one that loses the least
Yeah.
amount of energy. But like he describes it like it's a moving object. Like it, and you're just like you start to figure out how this guy's mind works. He's a serious genius. So anyway, so in at age 24 in 1999, he co-founded MicroStrategy, which is his company, with a guy called Sanju Bansal and Thomas Spar. The company was basically kind of focused on data analytics and software solutions, that kind of thing. And he was the CEO from the start, and he's the CEO to this day. So, I mean, this is a long period, 1989 to now. You can calculate how many years that is, but that's a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't create companies and stay as CEO. Definitely not stay as CEO.
Yeah, yeah.
They
You
might
get
just take
pushed
a,
out quick.
yeah, exactly, or take like take a step up to like director or just like an investor and then bring in the CEO, but he's still the CEO to this day. And his company grows and grows and grows. In the late 1990s, it becomes publicly traded. I think it was in 1998, and the company grows. Blah 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 blah. Fast forward to 2020, which is the COVID year. I think he said initially he was a skeptic on Bitcoin, and then in 2020 he took his time, studied the technology itself, and not only did he decide to go in on Bitcoin, he went in heavy, very heavy on Bitcoin. So
Uh,
as it stands, where's my other page? As it stands, MicroStrategy, his company,
uh,
owns uh, currently owns a total of 138,000. Excuse me, 138,955 bitcoins. Not not dollar amount in Bitcoin. That's how many individual bitcoins they own. So they own 138,000 bitcoins, nearly 139,000, which at this moment is worth about $4.2 billion. That's what the price of where Bitcoin is currently, roughly. And I think he bought another 150 million in April, just when people were it kind of goes up and down. Bitcoin is volatile, but he
yeah.
his I listened to his podcast, and honestly, I need to listen to it a couple like 2 or 3 more times. It's like a business lesson. It's tough to keep up because the guy,
Yeah.
first of all, the guy is a bona fide genius. Like he when you hear someone talk, when you hear um like when you hear like Musk or like Bezos or Zuckerberg or some of these people talk, they get the point
Mm.
across. You see, like Musk gets the point across, but it's a little robotic. It's a little stops and thinks about it. It's a little confusing sometimes. When this guy speaks, he doesn't mince his words.
Yeah.
He says exactly what it means, and he's very particular about the like. You see him like because he's an older guy. He gets like agitated. Like if you say like a word wrong, he'll say no, no, no. You're being sloppy with those words. This is what you meant to say, kind of thing. And you're like, okay, fair enough. But his whole thing is that basically Bitcoin is the single greatest invention. He believes the single greatest invention that humans have ever created. Period.
Wow.
which is extremely bold to say. But when you hear him speak, it's hard to argue against the guy. He's very convincing, of course. Yeah, he's very
Yeah.
knowledgeable about it. But these are kind of the four quick takeaways I think I just took. I remembered from the podcast about Bitcoin from him. So it says these are the four reasons why he thinks Bitcoin is the greatest asset class, or well, he said the greatest thing to ever come out of a human invention. So it says number one, it's accessible from anywhere and for anyone. He gives a lot of examples comparing Bitcoin to any other currencies. So if you live in Zimbabwe, that's a good
A
a
good
good example.
place.
Yeah, the best place, some may say. There's hyperinflation in Zimbabwe. I don't even know how much like a pound or a dollar is worth in Zimbabwe, but it's a few million, I think, a few 100,000. Who knows?
It's yeah, it's
It's
ridiculous.
ridiculous. That's the whole way we can put it. It's ridiculous. So if you live somewhere like that, or if you live in Panama, in Uruguay, in Iran, anywhere like that, it's hard for you to preserve your money because the local currency is worth essentially nothing. And if you want to keep your money in, let's say a currency like the US dollar, which is quite strong, it's hard to get hold of. You can't walk into the bank and withdraw 1,000 US dollars in the middle of Zimbabwe. It's just difficult, right? It's scarce.
Yeah.
So something like Bitcoin, this is accessible for anyone around the world, and that's extremely powerful. And again, accessible from anywhere, pretty much anyway, from anywhere. As long as you have an internet connection, you can get to it. His second reason is that it's scarce. So we know there's going to be 21 million Bitcoin, and there only ever will be 21 million Bitcoin. The way it was created was by an anonymous founder who created it and gifted it to the world. He cannot change the protocol. He will never change the or he or she or they or whatever. I can't change the protocol.
It.
Yeah, it cannot change the protocol. There only ever will be 21 million Bitcoin, and there is no company behind it. Every single other cryptocurrency or crypto property is held is a company, is a public traded company or private company. It has a board. It has people who stand to gain from it. Bitcoin is the only asset, essentially the only thing in the world that is ownerless. It's only owned by the people who are by everyone, basically. If you have a bit of Bitcoin right now, you are just as liable as someone who has 5,000 Bitcoin because it's all like nodes and that kind of thing. So
Mhm.
it says that scarcity of it plays a major part. Its ability to move. So um, he had an example of if you had $300 million and you want to keep it for the next 100 years, make sure your grandkids and great grandkids enjoy it. What's the best way to keep that money, right? So it goes through a few different asset classes that people invest in. You can keep it as dollars, but you know that the stock market goes up by 10% every single year, which essentially means the dollar is losing its value by 10% every single year, and that's essentially the strongest currency. Any other currency, you're losing your money by more than 10% a year. You could
Mhm.
buy property, but he was saying there is even with that there is variances. So if you had a property in Zimbabwe, you would probably trade that for a property in somewhere in Europe, let's say France. You would probably trade that for a property in London because you know that's probably going to hold its value a little bit better. And you'd probably trade that for maybe a property in New York, or maybe let's say a beachfront property in Miami. And if it's or let's say a waterfront property in Miami, or you'd probably prefer if that property is waterfront, you prefer it to be by the beach because it probably hold its value a little bit more. Then
Yeah.
then maybe you could argue you probably move that money to maybe somewhere like Dubai that's up and coming, and maybe that kind of money
That way out there.
will exactly right. So he's saying that there's a variance of ways that you can keep your money, the value of your money, and people pick and choose how they keep the value of that money. But with Bitcoin, he believes that this is the ultimate store of value because regardless, because of the scarcity and all of that, and the one thing that it has above all of this stuff, whether it's property, whether it's cities, whether it's gold, is that if in 100 years you want to move your 300 million worth of Bitcoin to China because that's where you and your family have decided to move, just like that, you can do it. If you had 300 million in gold, well, first of all, good luck. First of all, good luck. The amount you're gonna pay just to get that gold over there is gonna be ridiculous. The
Yeah.
the fact that the government is going to absolutely intervene with someone bringing 300
Yeah.
million of gold into the country,
Well,
and
never mind
this
bringing it into the country, taking it out of another
out
country.
exactly
That's
right.
probably where you struggle. That country would not want you to take that much
So much
gold
wealth there.
out of their
Exactly.
reserves.
Absolutely, and this kind of leads into the fourth point of his, which is it's secure. Obviously, it's secure network wise, but basically, Bitcoin is the only thing, the only asset to ever be created that nobody can take from you forcefully. If we think of gold, it can be seized. If you think of property,
Mhm.
same way. Almost any asset that you can have a government come in, a regime change. If it's a currency, I remember when Russia started the war with Ukraine, the Russian anyone who had money in Russian money in that currency lost 35% in a week or two. So
Mhm.
you have absolutely no control. You see, with Bitcoin, if you have it on a cold, what's called a cold wallet, all there is, all there is a code, a sequence of words, 10 words that you can remember. If you remember those in your head, that's the pin to your code. They
Mhm.
Someone can take you anywhere. They can seize you. They can essentially they can that can't be stripped from you. The government can't force that from you. The only way they can get, well, there is no only way to get it from you. Because if you're at gunpoint and someone says, listen, if you don't tell me your Bitcoin password, I'm going to kill you, they don't get anything. So there's no incentive for them to kill you. They would never kill you because the only way they can access it is to access the memory in your brain.
Mhm.
So his whole thing is that this is it's kind of like a hard uh, a thing to kind of get around, but it is essentially it's the only thing that if it comes to a place where the whoever's trying to steal from you is bargaining and they will torture you, they will settle for having half of what you have because they know if they kill
Mhm.
you, it's all gone.
They get nothing.
Absolutely. And no one can force you. No one can roll in. No one can. No law change can take it. Nothing. There's no force that can physically take that Bitcoin away from you. And that to him is the key. That's the reason. That's the difference that this asset class makes above everything else. And I think with the amount of Bitcoin he owns, if people, all these Bitcoin lovers think that one Bitcoin is gonna be worth a million, they will say that's the magic. Yeah, one day it will be worth a million. I think if it gets to that, he
What?
becomes the richest man in the world instantly. Well, well,
Wow.
well, according to the numbers that we know. But yeah, I think if Bitcoin ever reaches a billion, ever reaches £1 million in valuation, he becomes a rich. Well, first of all, his company holds will become the biggest company in the world. But I think he also has, alongside the 138,000 Bitcoin that the company owns, I think Michael Saylor himself. Let me just double check. Has he has 1,000? Okay, he has 1,045 Bitcoin of his own personal,
Mm-hmm.
which is about 29.3 million in Bitcoin at the moment.
Wow.
So this guy, what I think I'm saying to you, Craig. I think one thing I would say you should do, just listen to that podcast. He goes on for about 2.5 hours ish. But
Okay. Whose
man,
podcast is he on?
like he's on the PBD podcast with Patrick
Okay.
Bet David. But it
Uh,
is even like Patrick Bet David knows his stuff. But even
oh
when
yeah.
he's talking, like all of them sit back and they're just like they're mind blown.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen often. That does not happen often.
Yeah, it's very rare. It's very rare that you go to Patrick and blow him out of the water.
Yeah, but
He
it's
knows
it's
his
it's
stuff.
incredible. The guy is, you know what, the way his brain functions, it's hard for me. Like I left the interview thinking, you know what, this guy's. I left the interview thinking I'm gonna pour every single cent I have into Bitcoin because this guy just
Into Bitcoin.
the way he explained it, it seems like it's 100%. It seems like, oh,
It's
you know
so
what, there's no way it
detailed.
can be wrong. Oh, absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely, and he explains every single detail. It's the guy understands how money works. The guy understands investment, and you see the examples that I was using about the assets, about the houses, and that kind of thing. You'll see he does it better than I do.
yeah.
But that just put things into
Yeah.
perspective, and you're just like, oh my god, I was left speechless. And yeah, I like to talk,
Wow.
but damn, I was left speechless. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. But I think this guy might go down if Bitcoin does what Bitcoin, people say that it's going to do. I think this might go down
Mm.
as one of the biggest geniuses in our lifetime because he would have seen it. Like he got in at 2020, which people probably think is late. But he's
Mm.
probably seen the vision way earlier than a lot of people. So
Uh,
Michael Saylor, an incredible guy, to be honest. Yeah, he was
wow.
quite
Yeah, I've never
insightful.
actually heard like his story properly. I think I saw
Mm.
him a few times. In his name came up a few times where we hear like someone mention the name, but I didn't know like his. I didn't even know he was about from the 80s.
Oh
Interesting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Very very
So
fascinating
his
guy.
company, what does his company do? Like you said,
Yeah, so I think
his own.
MicroStrategy is I think it's a hedge fund,
Uh huh.
but I know they invest. Basically, they take your money and invest it somewhere. So whatever that's called, I know there's various names and various classes, but as far as I know,
Yeah.
that
So so
is what
did
they
they
do.
put all the money they have into Bitcoin? Like
I think it's a
their
large
investment.
majority. Yeah, I think it's a ridiculous, like
Uh,
it's a probably like 90 something percent of the money they have is pretty much all in Bitcoin, and then he has him and his obviously employees have a couple of investments elsewhere.
mm-hmm.
But if you want to buy some stock, that might not be a bad one. You know how we missed out on Nvidia.
Dang, we
MicroStrategies
could have
might be the
taken
one.
some with Nvidia there. You know what I mean? We should have seen it coming.
We should have. We should have. But yeah, I mean that's all I have for the day. I don't know if there's anything you wanna touch on before we close
No, I
up.
think that's me. Yeah, I think that's me. Today I just
Okay,
came in
cool.
for my guy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Two bangers to be honest. David
Yeah,
Beckham, and Michael Salah. I
the
think it
guy's
was
winning it. The guy's set up for the
absolutely,
future,
absolutely,
both of them.
absolutely
That's interesting.
incredible, incredible. But yeah, all right then, guys. That's the pod. Peace
That was a good
out.
one.
Yeah, loved it.
Peace.
Cool.